Hi everyone. We're going to talk about time blindness today. For those of you who are new, you don't know me, my name is Shannon Schroeder. I am the F-Bomb coach and I help ADHD women build sustainable systems for their businesses and their lives. So let's talk a little bit about what time blindness is. If you've heard the term, it's usually coupled with you don't know how to tell time or you're bad at time management. The truth is, your body and your brain do not perceive time passing the same way other people do, the way a neurotypical brain does. So let that sink in for a moment. Your body does not feel it passing the same way other people do. That's why you can say, hey, I need 5 more minutes, and 45 minutes later, you're still not done with that task. It's not because you didn't know how long the task was going to take. You did not feel that 5 minutes passing the way a neurotypical brain feels it passing. And it causes a lot of problems in your life. I'm not saying that it doesn't and you should ignore this, because like it or not, we live in a society that is run by a clock. People expect you to be places at a certain time. If you have an appointment, you're expected to show up at that time. Not like, oh, well, I got a little sidetracked and I'm going to show up when I show up, right? The world doesn't work that way. So like it or not, the world is not built for your brain, and you have to figure out the tools and strategies that you need to be able to function, to be able to be successful in the world that we're stuck in. And so when we talk about time blindness, what I see in most people, I definitely see it in my own kids, even when I'm working with clients, everything's either like 5 minutes or 3 hours. If it's something that you don't mind doing, like in your head, it's a fast task. Oh, I have a doctor's appointment at 11 o'clock. I could just leave at, 10:50. Even if it is truly 10 minutes door to door, there's still that other lead up time, right? So in your head, it's a 5-minute drive. It's a 5-minute task. I'm done in 5 minutes. If it's something you hate, it feels like it drags on forever. And I always joke in my house, laundry it's always been a huge issue. My children are adults. My son still hates doing laundry. Yes, they all do their own laundry. In his mind, it takes 3 hours. It takes 3 hours I'm not talking about the wash, the dry, I'm talking about the baskets in front of you, put the laundry away. It feels like a 3-hour task to him. Even though I could stand there with him and do it, and we're done in under 15 minutes, to him it feels like 3 hours. But if he's online and he's playing a video game, in his head, in his body, it feels like he's been playing for 15 minutes. And it's 45, it's 60, it's 3 hours. Because the passage of time is not perceived the same way. There is no real changing this. Can you get better at estimating how long it's going to take to do something? Yes, that's part of building up your time management skills. That's not going to remove the time blindness from your life. The time blindness is probably always going to be there. You're just going to get better at estimating how long things take. So what do you do about time blindness? Most people set lots of alarms. They don't just set one alarm to say, hey, it's time to leave, because they know that one alarm, there's a good possibility it's going to be ignored. And even if it's not ignored, it's going to be like, oh, wait, no, I heard the alarm. I know I have to go, but let me do one more thing. And that one more thing is truly not a 2-minute task. It feels like it only took 2 minutes, but it was actually 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So most people will set, an alarm for 10 minutes before you have to go, 5 minutes before you have to go, when you have to go, and then 5 minutes after, like, get your ass moving, right? The key here to work with your time blindness is to externalize time. You don't feel it. You do not feel it passing the way a neurotypical brain does, so you need to be able to see it. Lots of different ways to do this. Like I said, some people, they externalize by using alarms. You go into their phone and they've got just alarms set for all kinds of things all day. And that works. I would say that if you're using alarms, you want to use different sounds for different things, because our brains will start to tune things out. So if you use the same sound for waking up, and then you use it for you have to go leave for a meeting, or you do it to remind yourself it's time to go start cooking dinner, your brain is equating it with it's time to get up, let me hit the snooze, and I don't need to pay attention to it. Whereas if you use a different sound for different things, then your brain's like, oh, wait, what was that? and it's going to pay attention. Another option that you have for externalizing time is to actually see a clock, like an analog clock. And one thing that I have, which is a time timer, I had to go steal it from my daughter. The time timer actually gives you visual time. So I'm trying it. So you can see it's, got a little spinny thing. And so you set it for whatever time you want. And then you can actually see, sorry, my light is glaring. You can actually see time disappearing. And for a lot of ADHDers, and then when the time disappears, it dings. But I turned the sound off so it wouldn't annoy people. And you can set it for up to an hour. And that visual of watching time disappear helps you learn to feel what that 5 minutes feels like, or what that 30 minutes actually feels like. Because to you, it's going to feel different. But the visual of seeing it, like, oh, wait, look, there's only a little sliver of pink left, or blue, or whatever color you have. That means that it's almost time to go. I should be almost done with this. And that visual helps. I'll put my affiliate link down in the comments for you if you want to go ahead and grab one of these. They do run sales. They're awesome. They make a digital version of it as well. But if you don't want to buy something that you're not quite sure whether or not you're going to use it, there are obviously there is the timer on your phone. There is a free online site called Online Stopwatch, and it will give you a visual, right, where you can set a count up or a count down timer, and it looks more like a digital clock though, so you just see the seconds ticking away. Externalizing time that way, giving yourself that visual, is going to help you overcome the problem of time blindness. You're not going to get rid of it. Like I said, this is a neurological thing for you. Your brain is not feeling that time pass, but you can get better at it. One other note about using a timer in this way. If you are a highly anxious person, I would not recommend the time timer. It works for a lot of people, being able to see how the time is disappearing because the color disappears. But if you're someone who is so worried about being able to get something done, then seeing time disappear is going to add to your anxiety. And if seeing time disappear is going to spike your anxiety, you're not going to be as productive. You're going to be more worried about watching that time disappear than actually getting things done. So you have to do that bit of self-assessment for you, what makes the most sense, what's going to work for your brain, as always, looking for the best tools. That's why maybe a count up timer might be better for you. And as I said, Online Stopwatch can do that for you, where you can set it and it will count up and it would be there on your screen. Externalizing time means it needs to be in your face. You need to have it not just sitting somewhere, but, on your desk where you can see the time disappearing, where you can pay attention to it instead of just thinking, oh yeah, I've got plenty of time. Because how often do you tell yourself you have plenty of time and then all of a sudden you have no time and you're running late? We want to put a stop to that so that you can get the things done that you want to get done, that you can be on time and then stop feeling ashamed about not being on time because you're late, because you didn't notice the time, because you didn't feel it passing. Find the tools that work for you, implement those tools, and I'll see you in the next video.